The Night on Route 3. September 19th, 1961. It's just after midnight, northern New Hampshire. The road is narrow and dark, cutting through forest that hasn't decided whether it wants to belong to the night or to the moonlight. Pine trees line both sides, tall and close, their tops catching just enough pale silver light to be visible. The air is cool and clean, the kind that sharpens your breath when you inhale. Damp earth, resin, the faint sweetness of leaves beginning to rot. There is no traffic, no distant glow. So when the car moves, it feels like the only thing awake. Barney Hill drives with both hands on the wheel, straight-backed, quiet. His eyes move constantly. Road, mirrors, tree line, sky. He's not tense, but he's never careless. Night has taught him to stay attentive. Betty sits behind him, relaxed, talking off and on, letting silence settle when it needs to. She's wearing a simple dress, soft fabric, nothing fancy. Shoes meant for walking, not for running. The kind you forget that you're wearing. The moon hangs low and steady, not dramatically, not ominously, just present. It flattens distance, it stretches shadows, it makes the forest feel closer than it really is. That's when Betty notices the light. At first, it's barely worth mentioning. A bright point above the tree line, steady and white. She almost ignores it, but something about it just doesn't sit right. It doesn't twinkle, it doesn't blink. She points it out. Barney glances up, and the light moves. Not drifting, not falling, but adjusting. It slides across the sky with intent, correcting its position as if responding to them. The air inside the car feels heavy all of a sudden, like pressure before a storm that never comes. They keep driving, and the light keeps pace. It doesn't rush, it doesn't lag. It simply remains. Closer now, lower than it should be. Its glow is contained, dense, almost solid, not spilling onto the night, but pressing against it. And Barney slows. The road curves around Indian Head Mountain. The forest tightens. Moonlight breaks into pieces between the branches. So he pulls over. The engine cuts. Metal ticks softly as it cools. The silence afterward is immense. Barney steps out of the car, gravel shifting under his shoes. The smell of pine is sharper here, but it's mixed with something else, faint, metallic, like ozone. The air feels thick, charged, alive. He raises the binoculars. The object is close now, too close. Disc shape, smooth, no wings, no seams, no sound. It hovers without effort, light pulsing softly within it, not bright enough to blind, but impossible to ignore. And then he sees the windows, and behind them, figures. Upright, humanoid, still. Their faces are pale. Their eyes are large and dark, unblinking. They don't react when he notices them. They don't move closer or further away. They just watch. The gaze lands on him with weight. Not curiosity, not threat, but assessment. Something cold moved through Barney's chest, sharp and immediate. This is not imagination. This is not confusion. And this is not fear of the unknown. This is recognition of being outmatched. He lowers his binoculars and runs. Gravel skids beneath his feet. His breath comes fast. His heart hammers. He doesn't shout. There's no time for that. He gets back into the car and drives. Betty doesn't blink. She doesn't react. They pull onto the road, tires crunching, engine roaring too loud for a quiet forest. The light moves with them, keeping pace, floating alongside it as if the road meant nothing to it. And then the sound. Beep, beep, beep. It's not loud. It doesn't echo, but it vibrates. The steering wheel hums under Barney's hands. The seats tremble. The vibration climbs through the frame of the car and into their bodies, settling into their eyes, tightening the jaws. The air tastes metallic. Betty's ears ring. Her skin prickles. The forest blurs, and then there is no road. There is no sky. There is no memory. Time doesn't slow. It just disappears. When awareness returns, the car is moving. The road stretches ahead, empty and familiar. The forest looks unchanged. The moon hasn't moved nearly enough, but 2 hours are gone. Betty looks down at herself. Her dress is torn at the hem, fabric pulled and stretched. Dirt smears her shoes in places she doesn't remember stepping. Barney's shoes are scuffed too. At the toes, not worn, but they look dragged. His watch is dead. The second hand is frozen mid-tick. They don't talk about it, but they drive. When they reach home, the house feels smaller than it should. Too quiet. Out inside the lock. Inside, the familiar smells of wood and fabric settle around them. But underneath all that is something sharp and thin, like a place they didn't bring with them, but didn't leave behind either. Betty changes clothes slowly. She runs her fingers over the tears in her dress, trying to remember what happened. Barney sits at the edge of the bed, staring at his hands. His jaws tight. His shoulders stay raised long after there's nothing to brace for. That night, sleep comes unevenly. Betty dreams, not fragments, not symbols, but clear scenes, repeating. Lights without shadows, narrow corridors, figures who don't speak but somehow answer. A room where she lies still while something examines her. Not cruel, not gentle, but precise. She wakes with her heart racing and the feeling that something has just stepped away. Barney doesn't dream. He lies awake, listening to the house breathe. Every sound feels too close. When he closes his eyes, he sees the eyes again, unblinking, calm and certain. Days pass, then weeks. They try not to talk about it, but the silence grows heavy. Certain smells bring it back, certain sounds, the way the night feels when it's too still, when the air seems to pause. Sometimes Betty finds herself staring at the sky longer than she means to. Sometimes Barney wakes feeling tense, his fists clenched, his body remembering something that his mind refuses to hold. And life continues, but something remains open. Some nights, when the road outside is empty and the world feels held in place, it feels just like it did in New Hampshire, like the air is waiting, like the dark is paying attention. And once you felt that, once you felt the vibration settle in your bones, once you know what it's like to be seen without being known, you don't forget. You learn how to live with this lesson. And this is a story of the alien myth.